All right, so this is a visual verification of me. Currently sitting at Lisa's apartment, taking care of Melvin. He has had some issues this morning, and we didn't clean him up. So, but that's really not my business to say or to anyone. All right. Um, Nor what I wrote in emails and descriptions is not either. And this is completely up to Lisa as to her decision as to whether these videos will be taken down and whether I will be able to help her out with it. So I accept that responsibility. In this moment, feel this needs to happen. Something needs to be done. I don't have the job qualifications nor literally financial whatever to aid the situation. And giving her financial whatever will stop funding from what she needs. So my hands are tied. I'm trying my hardest. Um, and I wrote in an email and maybe a description that I am leaving the car here. I am walking about town. I am walking to Farmington. I am visiting the hospital to try to mitigate my own psychosis. Yes, under stress, I do routines straight up. I go bam, bam, bam. I know if I make it through that, I can make it back to my car. I can pass out, whatever. Sometimes I don't make it back to my car. So, um, to use my name and to make accusations without asking me what's going on or have the complete details, there's a right and wrong way to do it. In my personal opinion, the right way would say, um, just if I were an East Missouri Action Agency, it is brought to our attention that there may be a violation of the overnight stay policy of your contract. That way, my name is not brought up. That way, I am not called out. That way, um, it is then brought to, I don't know, the light, and then the appropriate person would step forward. So this is taking a shortcut and specifically saying my name, not my full name, how I introduce myself to everyone. No, it was cut down. I will not be cut down. I've been straight. I've been direct. I've been explaining to everyone. I'm here for Lisa. I gave her my word that I would help her out. When she asked me to do something, I do it. I may do a little extra, but that's because I want to make sure she understands that she's worth it. That her penny for her thought deserves to be polished. Now, technically, with coins, you don't clean the tarnish off. It shows the age. But yeah, I'm trying to illustrate a point. Um, I was talking about my junior high years. I'm going to try to reiterate that. I started with an English class um, that I kind of brushed in. I was just hammering through, is what I was doing. I knew I got locked in a moment of the past, and I needed to bring it back into now so that way I could drive over to Lisa's and then make sure she's okay. Because I received some texts during the middle of the night, which I was sleeping, and which showed me that she's stuck in a thought process as well. She's doing very well. Like compared to when I first met her in the pods to today, night and day. She's an amazing woman. Melvin, who has been by her side, they are totally synced up. It is weird. Like he can sense, and he doesn't even have to be in the same block vicinity. He can sense, like, oh, okay, something's going on. I need to go home. I need to go check out. That's his routine. She needs my lovies. So, and I can't explain that, and I don't know how to explain that. And if you haven't had an animal like that, then it's just an experience. So, but anyways, English class. We had barreled through like 6 books. And I was talking about emotional energy, reading the room, whatever you define it, it's the same thing. I had continuously asked questions like, why this? This is where I'm having problems. Why did they do that? Well, you've got to make it through the whole story. That was my major argument. Well, if I'm not understanding the story, why would I want to finish it? Explain to me what I'm missing. I don't want to ruin the story for you. I understand that. So, anyways, the books progressively kept pushing comfort boundaries from a religious standpoint, my upbringing, which is fine. I understand religion does the same thing for other individuals. So I understood the concept, but I didn't have the bridging, um, whatever. So, and in a prior video, I'm not sure if it made it online. I went to, I had vocational rehabilitation years prior. I was told I had to go to a junior college. Anyways, made it to calculus. First math teacher, which I had all my, I didn't have my college transcript or high school transcript, so I had to retake some courses. Love the teacher, explained everything verbatim, had questions, she would walk you through it. Then my schedule, because I was doing 16 to 19 hours, credit hours per semester. I had to get approval. Um, exactly how I managed to get a half a credit my senior year. That's my only requirement. So I did summer school. I did all the extra work. I always did the extra work. The one thing I brushed over about not doing homework, there was one class in particular, I think it was my science class. I refused to hand in the homework I did. I aced the tests. And because of my classmates really having a hard time in there, I'm not sure if they were doing it on purpose or whatever, he was grading on a curve, and my grades actually allowed me to ace the course, or the entire group class. There was one other individual, it was a female in my science class. Um, this is in high school, who was pissed because the teacher had literally said, if you miss any single day of this course, you're going to fail this test. There's no way. This is the largest test of the semester. Guess what? Guess who missed the entire time and then showed up test day? And then not only I got one question wrong out of, I don't know, 99 or 90, 80, whatever it was. One question wrong, and that's because he went over it in class. That was his fault. Anyways, I scored higher than the smartest kid in the class. She was livid. She's like, how the fuck? Time and again, I know, I see you skip school all the time. I see you out and about. Do you even study? I'm like, no, I talk to people on the phone at night. I have fun. I do my time studying. I do as well as you. I don't stress out about it. If I'm not getting it, I put it down, go do something I want to do, and then come back to it. It's not that hard. She's like, it is very hard. And I'm like, no, no, no. Okay, all right. And then there was one conversation. I'm like, I'm sorry that I did that. But I really enjoy the competition I have in class with her. So I don't think I ever talked to her after that. There was just like this, after that conversation and appreciation, it was just like, okay, I see you. I see you. I won't stress out. Uh, hopefully one day, we'll meet again, but it's whatever. So that was my science class, of which, same thing. I took all my advanced courses. He was the only one that did the advanced courses, so I was with that teacher, just like the math teacher in college. So, math teacher in college. Oh, I did this one. I usually send emails to the teachers because you have that option. And then I usually ask like life lessons or send jokes or something that I think pertain to their subject at hand. One of them was like this math thing. So this rich woman has this expensive car in New York, was going on vacation. She went to her bank and then asked the bank. She's like, "Can I take a loan out of this car?" They're like, "Why do you want to take a loan out of this car? We know you have substantial amount of money." She's like, "I just do. I just do." And they talked about interest rates and how she gets so low. And the protocols and procedures are like, the fact is if we're going to give you this amount of loan, we have to put the car in storage if we're going to do that. She's like, "All right, I understand. Fine." So she takes the money. She said she'd wanted to go on vacation. Um, she went on vacation. She comes back. She pays the entire loan off and says thank you. She's like, the loan officer's like, "What's going on here?" She's like, "Here's the deal. I made some calls around and I found out storage was too much money. Like it was more cost effective for me to take a loan out through you guys, use that for my vacation, come back, use the money out of my savings to pay for my loan, and you guys store my car for free." So, and that's hard to explain to a class that doesn't understand any of that. So, I also had an English teacher who I greatly appreciated in college as well. He was a preacher. He also did public speaking, and I think that's the course I took with him. And then I hit the roadblock again with my English 1 class. That teacher, I had a hard time. Public speaking. So I wrote one paper. I forget what the thing was, but it was basically stating that um, I have no control if I don't accept all responsibility, even if it's not my fault. My options dwindle if someone else says it's their fault. If it's their fault and they're not doing anything, then we hit a roadblock. So I know to step in and take responsibility. I'm like, "I'm sorry, I should have stepped in, blah, 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 blah," whatever the excuse is. But that takes the stress off of them, and then they become a valid resource in the next stage of actually creating something called a solution. So my English 1, and this is my college time, which I eventually got escorted off by police officers. Ugh. I don't want to talk about that. If you want to look online, if it's still there, you can figure it out. But anyways, I'm not allowed on that property anymore, much like East Missouri Action Agency. So, but anyways, English 1 failed. Uh, Apparently there was a computer glitch. I made it to English 2 in college, aced that course. Fucking awesome teacher. Understood my creativity, allowed me time to talk and explain, and then she would highlight and let me review it. She understand that I was a learning disabled person. Great with adaptivity to each student. Now, mind you, um, usually summer courses were reserved for people that failed that course prior, so she was a little rough. She acknowledged that I was taking the initiative to step up and hammer those courses out. So I think she was trying to prove a point to the rest of the class. Now, I don't think the rest of the class knew my background situation, just like many of the situations I'm in. So, anyways, passed it with an ace. Then found out that next semester that they would not acknowledge that. I would have to repeat uh, English 1, which I had no problem. I knew I needed to. Um, and then they told me I needed to retake English 2. That was an error. It doesn't matter how much time I wasted, it doesn't count. And then I was burnt out after that, got pissed, then escorted off the property by um, the police. So, with a "do not come back to the property, otherwise you'll be arrested" type deal. So I have not gone back to get my transcripts. I have not gone back because they have it on file on their local computer. So, but I'm not allowed on property, so, and I haven't wanted to go back to school. So I think we're dealing with all that stuff, and that's my personal stuff. What other story did I go through? I want to clarify on the clarinet issue. The older gentleman was told that it was my father's clarinet that he played in high school. He also knew that it was an E flat clarinet. So when I first started, and I was first learning finger placements, um, was literally transcribing the music from B flat to E flat. And then telling me, because E flat, they didn't have a budget to pay for E flat, which they knew they wouldn't have any other students in the near future, because that technically is an expensive clarinet. Uh, it's a specialty. So he spent a lot of time walking me through the finger gestures and all that. And then we've got a new um, music teacher that wasn't told, or maybe just didn't know how to transcribe music. I don't know what happened. There was a glitch in the computer system, which they didn't have. But I'm just saying, a glitch in the computer system that didn't get translate the information over that needed to be translated over. So he gave me B flat clarinet books, which he had that came in the big packet for, you purchase for the class. That B flat clarinet book then had finger gestures that told you each note. So I was confused. I'm like, and he kept iterating, just follow the steps in the book. All right. It sounds wrong because you're not doing the finger steps. So I learned the fuck out of those finger steps and the notes on the book. I still sounded like shit. At home, I was doing it and it sounded the way it did. And then in concert and in class, uh, it wasn't sounding right. And I kept being told there, I'm like, I'm doing it. The teacher saw me doing the finger thing. He then blamed it on the read. He then blamed it on whatever. And then finally he gave up. He stopped trying to solve the problem. And then just let me play shitty music and destroy the entire song that was being played. So, anyways, I make it to junior high. There's this kid right out of college, who heard it, saw the finger gestures. He's like, "You're playing B flat on an E flat clarinet." Bam. Knew it immediately, mostly because he just got out of school. He had those that song class, most likely because he was getting his master's, I believe. And anyways, so he's like, you can't use that clarinet anymore. You're in an advanced course. You're gonna have to borrow one of the schools. So, damn it, fucking rat. That's the first time I saw a mouse. It's getting to that weather. So, anyways, Melvin, you dirty rat. Anyways, so and should be notated for East Missouri Action Agency. Fuck, there are so many. Oh, there's animals in the walls and in the ceiling and in the basement. There's, I'm not fixing any of this. It can be fixed. Simple solutions if done right. Not much money at all. It's not being invested appropriately because the basics that were agreed upon were not given. So, one thing at a time. I'm talking about me right. Wow. So I find it really nice that Nancy uh, drives Lisa around because of her situation. She has her driver's license. Um, I allow them to have my car because of that. So Nancy's a great neighbor. She is also dealing with the same situations that we deal with, but she's been here longer, so she's already, and she's very, she fixes stuff amazingly. And I probably shouldn't have used her name. I apologize. Um, she knows how to get shit done. Oh, back to the English thing. All right, high school English. So I'm going to tell a story, and this I probably shouldn't be sharing this. So I'm in the LD course. Let's talk about my LD advanced crossover that burned me out. So I'm in advanced course in algebra, and I was having a hard time. Um, my study hall, because I was LD, had to be in an LD class, so I was separated from the individual. They were specifically there. The LD teacher was supposed to help me. The LD teacher handed me the teacher's guide. I don't know if you know what a teacher's guide is. It has all the answers in it. She had told me, and she was honest with me, which was fine, but I'm just like, this isn't going to help me at all. She hands me the book. She's like, I don't understand these concepts. So here's the book. Use your time wisely. Use the back if you need to. That way you can stay in the course and stay in advanced. My heart broke. I understood. I don't know. It was one of those, and I'm thinking of a name. They know who they are. We had that moment. Um, and anyways, my LD English course, other hand, I used to write so much shit in there. It was hilarious. Like the question was, like it was one of those end of the year things, those bullshit things. It's like this week, write what you would do if you. It's like those $1 million questions. If I gave you $1 million, what would you do? You have one weekend to do this, get it done. You know that this would be your last weekend. What do you want to do? Uh, and I'm like, so you can do anything. Is that the stipulations? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, as long as it's within reason. I'm like, okay. And appropriate. I'm like, okay. So I wrote this, and it was really short, I think. I want to get with Kathy Ireland and be an effing man. At the time, she had just done a photo shoot or Sports Illustrated or whatever. So, and she's going to teach me the ways of the world. Uh, she called a teachers conference. Well, first she's like, "Josh, what did you write here?" I'm like, "Exactly what the excitement dictated." So, and she's like, "Yeah, but I said appropriate." I'm like, "Yeah, it's appropriate. You said I have 1 week to live, um, and I can do whatever I want." She's like, "Yeah, but that's not what I meant." I'm like, "No, but that's what you said." Appropriate is I get to be an adult if I'm going to end in a week. And she's like, wow, well, can't deal with this. Hands it over to the other teacher. They're whispering in the back. They're like, holy shit, like this kid stumped us. So they call my mom in and she's like railing into me. I'm like, it's no big deal. I wrote a paper. Anyways, told they call my mom and they're like, and they had a talk with me. And I'm like, I don't see the problem here. And my mom's like, yeah, there's really not a problem here. They're like, oh, what is he doing? Why is he writing that? Why does he think is? And she's like, it's just him. Just let him go. So, anyways, after that, we had a book report where, and I didn't read any books. I made shit up. I read part of it, maybe the back, maybe the end, maybe the middle, whatever it is, and then just did creative writing on top of that. So they're like, choose a book, write a book, or write a report on it. So I wrote. My grandfather had, because the older generations, you kept your books. You had a small library. You had whatever um, wall of information. You also had encyclopedias if you could afford it. One, if not two, different years. Because they always update information before the internet. But anyways, I found this little paperback book, worn down, Harry Houdini Life. As a memoir, or maybe someone wrote it or whatever. Anyways, I knew the date was like 19 something. So I'm like, there is no effing way the teacher read that. There is no effing way the other whatever students have read that either. I'm like, I got this. Simple solution. So I read the beginning. I got some dates. I got some facts. Um, I then wrote the story. I'm like, I started with the date 9 months prior to Harry Houdini being born. So I just am like, it's a misty night. And I used the mother's name. I used the father's name. Like they were having dinner and bloom, bloom, bloom. And then it gets more graphic and graphic and graphic. And then I'm like, uh, and then I'm like, fade to black. 9 months later. Harry Houdini was born. I don't know what I wrote after that. I think I even made up the ending as well. I told him specifically how he died. And they're like, that's not how he died. He died like this. And I'm like, I don't think so. The book says this. And I remember reading it from the book. So, anyways, he's like, no, I've read it on the internet. I'm like, yeah, but this older book, I would believe more than the internet because that is an older book. So, anyways, um, me and that kid always argued. He just like picking fights about knowing everything. I ain't even sure. The fact is that after those reports were handed in, that Monday after, I'd at no. It was a Thursday and then it was a Friday. It was the weekend after that. I'm like, so, did you read those reports? You get those graded? She's like, nope, I didn't, Joshua. I'm like, oh, really? She's like, I did read yours first and then have to go to bed. And I'm like, what? And I had this shit eating grin on there because my mind just lit the fuck up. I knew what that meant. I knew what was in that report. I'm like, wow. All right. Well played. Well played. Nice little secret talk there. So, anyways, that was hilarious. Mind you, saw her out in public, found out where she was living with her parents. Another one, just got out of college, so we won't talk about what happened after that. Uh, anyways, yeah, these are the things that don't make it into reports, mostly because the teachers or the administration or middle management doesn't want you to know exactly what's going on behind their doors. So, all right, there was one in between there. Okay, I'm going to acknowledge in Ridgewood as well, the science teacher used to give facts like cleaning out your drains. Uh, if you have a problem with drains, hair, whatever, to clean out the drains, baking soda and vinegar. Simple solution. Keep using that until it clears it out. If there's a continual problem, you may have to call in a professional. To not have weeds such as dandelions and whatever grow in your yard, make sure your yard is always trimmed at a certain height. All right. Now I had another science teacher, I think for biology or chemistry. It was chemistry because I forget what chemical. Anyways, I just chose a random chemical at once. Um, and then there was a girl that I was studying with, and she's like, "You've got a card. Can we go to the library, or I'll meet you at the library and we'll study together?" I'm like, okay. All right. She's like, we will, because this was before the internet. You know, go to the library. We'll read up. We'll write it. So she gets all these books. She's writing stuff down. I found one book. Literally had like 3 pages worth of stuff. I'm like, okay, I like that graph. I like that picture. Explains a lot. I can concise that down into 2 pages. Do a little copy. See, back before Photoshop, you had literally had to cut things out. You had to copy them first, make sure it was a clean copy. Cut it out. Tape. You don't use tape. You use glue, and you apply it on to the paper after you have already made the spaces. So it took time to do that. So you have two options. You can either cut the individual lines out and then line it up that way, or literally print out the letters and make sure you have the space necessary for the image to be applied onto it. So I did literally 2 pages, put it in a folder, looked very good, and gave it to the teacher. So she actually read everything and she reviewed it and she always put notes on it and to let you know how you could do whatever. But mind you, most of these students are doing 7 to 12 pages to try to explain concisely as possible what's most important about these chemicals. Um, and the whole time the girl is like, "Are you sure that's all you need?" I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'll spend about $3 to get this done and about 3 hours worth of work. So we get back to our reports. She got a C. And I get mine back. I look at it. I close the book. And she's like, well done. The teacher said, well done. So I close it. The girl that she knew I was studying with asked, so curious. She's like, what?